Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the brand new Tier 6 Tech Tree heavy tank, the Pawlack Tank, which is part of the new American Yo tank line. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Pawlack. What I'm going to do is show you this first replay, which is stock. The second replay will be nearly upgraded, and the second 2 replays will be the fully upgraded tank when you get to that final stage of the grind. So this Pawlack tank, I have enjoyed playing it, to be honest. It was actually quite fun as a Tier 6. It's not the most amazing Tier 6 in the universe, but it's usable, which is always good. Would I prefer to be in the M6 as the compatriot Tier 6 heavy tank? Yes, the M6 is a lot nicer to play because you've got the better penetration on the premium round, you've got better DPM, your mobility is slightly worse, but you've also got better view range, which is quite handy for it as well. So in general, the M6 is better and a lot nicer to use, but that doesn't mean the Pawlack's bad. The Pawlack actually is quite nice. So, stock, the Pawlack, with the build that I run, has a 45 km/h top speed, a 14 km/h reverse speed, 600 horsepower engine with 16.67 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you do get up to that top speed eventually. It's actually not too bad in terms of the mobility on this vehicle, even stock, which is quite nice, compared to the Tier 7, which is really horrific when it's stock for its mobility. 30 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means the tank does turn decently quick on its tracks for a heavy tank as well. The terrain resistances don't really hold the tank back too badly, or unless you're on firm, because the firm resistance at 1.17 is actually pretty poor. You've got 458 metres of view range while stock, which is good enough for a Tier 6 heavy tank. It means you can spot up to the 445 metre spotting cap, and it means you can also get a decent amount of assistance depending on the map you are in. You've got 39.87 degrees a second on the turret traverse, which is faster than the tracks, and that is very nice for the Pawlack. It means the turret, you can get the turret and the gun snapped in on target very, very quickly. A 1.21 accuracy during rotation with a 3.32 accuracy during movement is absolutely atrocious, and as you're seeing here with this stock gun on the 76mm gun, the accuracy during rotation and movement is awful, and it means that aim circle blooms out massively, meaning you have to wait for it to aim in, but it does have a 1.99 second aim time, meaning it does aim in pretty fast anyway, so that's actually not too bad. But yeah, the aim circle does bloom out massively, but that's not uncommon for a lot of Tier 6 heavy tanks. You've got 9 degrees of gun depression, which is fairly flexible on the ridgeline. The problem is for the Pawlack tank is that you are a big tank, and that means you have to go quite high on the ridgeline to even use the 9 degrees of gun depression, because it is a big, fugly tank, and that's what the Pawlack tank is. So the 9 degrees of gun depression is great, but it can be a little bit awkward at times just because of how tall this vehicle is. You've got 0.32 accuracy at 100 metres with this stock 76mm gun, which, while it's fully stock, is not too bad. It does occasionally like missing if you don't let it fully aim in, which can be annoying, but just, yeah, once you get it fully aimed in, it's pretty alright. You've got a 3.27 second reload, which is 2.7k DPM, which is actually really good on the Pawlack tank. And it makes the stock gun actually feel nicer at some points than the top gun, just because that DPM is really good. And if someone underestimates you, you can shred them so fast. That DPM is very, very nice on this stock gun. And you've got a penetration of 152mm of pen on the standard AP, with 192 penetration on the premium APCR, with 975 metres a second shell velocity on the standard AP, and 1250 metres a second shell velocity on the premium APCR, which means you're slightly below average on the AP, which is a bit of pain. You have to give a decent amount of lead at distance to be able to hit those shots. But your APCR velocity and pen is very nice for a Tier 6 tank that is stock. And that means that you don't have to give too much lead distance with your APCR to hit the target. And also, you don't really struggle to pen too much with that 192 pen. Only some of the more heavily armoured Tier 8s, realistically, will you struggle to pen with 192. And in all honesty, the stock gun was actually really quite nice on the Pawlack tank. And it's one of those that, when you use the 90mm, it's nice to get the 240 Alpha. But that loss of DPM, you really do feel it with the Pawlack. So as you can see with the first game, we finished with that epic victory. 2 kills, 1744 damage with the 679 assistance, second class, which was the 1229 base XP. Which, fairly average game there for the Pawlack tank when it was completely stock as well. Which is quite nice to show it off when it's like that, because you get to experience what it's like as you grind through and get to the different stages of the grind. So now, with the Pawlack tank in this second replay, we are nearly fully upgraded in that we have every module except the 90mm gun, so we are still using the stock gun right now, and that means that we've now got a 17.71 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning we actually get up to top speed that little bit faster, which is nice for it. It makes it feel even more mobile, and it is a fairly mobile tier 6 heavy tank going at 45 kilometers an hour. You will hit it pretty easily. 32 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed is a little bit faster as well, which is still pretty decent for a heavy tank. The 1.76 on soft, 1.06 on medium, and 1.08 on firm on the resistances of the terrain is not bad at all. Again, the firm resistance isn't too good, but generally the resistances aren't too bad for the Pawlack. 471 meters of view range is quite nice as well, means you can spot for yourself pretty decently in the Pawlack tank, meaning you will get outspotted quite easily because you've got very poor camo, being a heavy tank. But having 471 means that if someone fires at you, you should at least spot them, which is quite good. We've got 43.61 degree a second rotation speed on the turret as well when we've got it fully upgraded, which is also a little bit faster again and just generally very nice for the Pawlack. 0.72 accuracy during rotation now on this stock 76mm gun, with the 2.91 accuracy during movement means it is slightly better, and it does mean the aim circle still blooms out quite a bit, but it's not as bad as it was, which is definitely good for the Pawlack tank. And it makes this stock gun feel even nicer generally. And you've got a 1.9 second aim time as well, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it aims in supremely fast, which is glorious for the Pawlack. 0.31 accuracy means you're about 0.01 accuracy better as well, means the gun is still fairly accurate. And you've got 3.13 second reload now on this stock gun, which is 2.8, nearly 2.9k DPM. And like I said, the DPM on this vehicle is very nice for 150 damage a shot, which is lovely for the Pawlack tank. It means when you get in a position like this, you can farm very, very fast. And like I say, if people underestimate you, you do shred them really quickly with this stock gun. And I feel like with this tank, it's probably a choice. Whether you go with that slightly lower penetration on this gun over the 90mm and go for the extreme DPM, just know that you're going to have to fire a bit more premium, or you go for the higher alpha, lower DPM gun with slightly better pen. I feel like that is an actual valid choice for you on this tank as to which one you decide to actually go for, which is quite good, realistically, as a choice for the tank. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment for the Pawlack tank? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Snapshot, Off-Road Driving with Rapid Aim, the Advanced Loader, Optics and Vents. Optics to be able to get that 471 meters of view range, especially alongside the Vents to get the most out of that view range, as well as the DPM, getting it a little bit higher with the Advanced Loader too. Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse even better, so it's really quite nice. The Off-Road Driving to make the ground resistances better on this vehicle, so that they don't hold the tank back and it's able to get to that 45 kilometers an hour top speed quite easily. All three gun perks, because like I say, the accuracy during rotation and movement can be a bit poor, so it's nice to make it as good as humanly possible on this tank, so that we can farm up with the pretty damn good DPM this tank can get. But there's plenty of ways you can run the tank. You could drop the off-road driving quite easily for clutch braking instead to make the track traverse better so it can swivel round faster. It's really down to you and how you feel comfortable playing the tank, as always, because there's no real right or wrong way to set up a vehicle. There's just different ways of setting up for different playstyles. So as you can see with this second replay here on Campbellberg, we're up to 747 damage so far, and that's sadly for us because the people got unspotted that we'd actually got behind. But now we're being pressured by a Panzerjäger and the Pawlack tank from earlier on. But I want to just keep poking out, seeing if I can get shots into the tank that was the KV-4 or that TD that was over in the distance, because if we get rid of those guys, they should stop spotting up my heavy tanks that are pushing out of the middle. And that way they can come help us as well, get shots into people like the Panzerjäger and make it awkward for them. So we get a couple of shots into the GSAW 1008. He gets shut down by our GSAW 1008. We loaded premium because we're not going to go through a KV-4 with 152 pen, whereas the 192 will. The VK3601H just YOLOs into our Jagdpanther. We've really got to keep this Jagdpanther alive if we can, because naturally they have got a fairly big gun, they've got decent DPM, and they are a tier 7, so they can help us in this situation so we don't get overwhelmed too much. So now the Panzerjäger's here. Now the Panzerjäger has amazing DPM, it has an amazing gun, but the thing is we actually have really good DPM as well. But we're getting farmed from behind by the LHM-TV, which is making this just a little bit awkward. So we're just going to try and find shots into him. He hits us on the move, no problemo whatsoever. Nearly hits us again. Okay, thanks, mate. I want your RNG, my friend. But we got 2 shots into him. We're now going to pressure the Panzerjäger, who keeps poking around to try and shoot our friends. If we can try and keep dissuading him from doing this, this is great. We bounce a shot off our armour from the Panzerjäger, which is not something you should truly rely on in the Pawlack, because anything that's got about 180, 190 plus pen will go through the front plate of the Pawlack tank very, very easily. The armour is not trustworthy on this tank whatsoever. Don't try and trust it unless you're extremely top tier. But we did get lucky and bounced it. The LHM TV ends up shutting down my Jagdpanther friend. The Panzerjäger as well got shut down. So we can then go and focus on the last tank alive, which is Mr. LHM TV. Now, I've got the APCR loaded, and that is purely for the shell velocity. That is what we want from this tank, so that we can hit that guy easier at range. Because, obviously, it's a light tank. We don't need 152 pen, but the 1250 meters a second shell velocity instead of 975 meters a second shell velocity can make a big difference in shooting that guy at those distances. But I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to go back to firing the standard round just so I can save some credits. Get a shot into his side as he's coming down the hill, but sadly, it did track damage only, because light tank tracks, bro, they like to take magical shots. Trying to get another shot into this LHM TV, he gets tracked, great times, put 1 shot into him, he gets shut down by the Scorpion G, and we finished the last game of the tank while it's in a stockish phase, I suppose, with the 1 kill, 3,055 damage, 102 assistance, the first class, the Confederate, for 1680 base XP, which is actually a really nice game for this tank with the stock gun in a tier 8 lobby. But now we're on to the second replay, and this second replay is now with the fully upgraded packaged tank. We've got the 90mm gun, and we've got that higher alpha, which is quite nice for the Pawlack tank. This first replay is indicative of don't just be hard-headed and decide to go to a flank by yourself anyway. This replay is definitely all about patience and setting up an ambush, because as you can see, El Haloof is happening right now. Low-tier El Haloof anyway, and my whole team is basically down on the ridges at H4. So, don't be hard-headed. Don't go to a flank all by yourself and then die and then cry that your team didn't help you. See your team is not going somewhere and go, okay, if my team's not going to do that, I'm going to set up and expect what the team is, or try and predict, I should say, what the team is going to do. And then I can set up an ambush and try and get them. Does it require patience? Yes. Is it a bit boring? Absolutely. This game, I was bored from the first 2 or 3 minutes of this game. I was bored. It was boring because it was literally just this. I have to sit and wait for the enemy team to trundle into my gun, and then I could start trying to impact the game. Because I didn't want to go sit on those ridge lines because that's quite easy to get farm from there. You don't get too many shots. So we're going to set up here and just wait for the enemy team. But while we wait, let's go through the top gun. So the 90mm gun, when you get fully upgraded on this tank, has a 6.4 second reload, which is 2.2k, nearly 2.3k DPM, which, as you can see, is a lot lower than the stock gun on this tank, because you go from 2.8k to nearly 2.9k DPM down to the 2.2, which is a lot lower, and you really feel that. You don't feel like you're racking up damage in this tank quite as quickly as you do with the 76mm gun. You've got 160 pen on the standard AP, with 205 penetration on the premium APCR, and 45mm of pen on the HE for 320 Alpha. Now, the standard pen is 8 better than the stock gun, and the premium pen is that 12 or 13 pen better than the stock gun as well, which means you're generally a lot easier to pen a lot of the tier 8s with this gun, but it's not massively significantly different enough that you go, oh, I'm really struggling to pen things with this gun that I couldn't pen with the top gun, right? So that's where the choice comes in, whether you want that higher DPM or you want the higher alpha. Now, the higher alpha makes it feel that bit more heavy tanky, as it's got the 240 alpha. That is quite nice, as opposed to 150. But yeah, this gun can be derpy, it can be frustrating, and that lack of DPM that you have compared to the stock gun is also just a bit of a frustration. As this gun has a .33 accuracy, at 100 meters when you've got it fully kitted out, which is still fairly accurate. But again, for some reason, this gun just feels derpy. There's lots of shots that decide to miss. They sit there going, really? Did you have to? We had a couple on that Caro P88 you just saw there as well, which yeah, just adds to a bit of the frustration of the gun. As you have a 1.36 accuracy during rotation and a 3.14 accuracy during movement, the aim circle blooms out massively more with this 90mm gun than it does with the 76 as well, meaning you have to rely on that 2.17 second aim time to get the gun fully aimed in to be able to get your shots down range. Now, that adds to the fact that it takes a little bit longer to actually start getting your shots down range with the 90mm compared to the 76, because you have to wait a little bit longer to get it to aim in, as you know, as opposed to the 1.9 second aim time the 76mm gets. You've got to wait for that 2.17. The accuracy during rotation and movement is worse than the 76, so the aim circle blooms out massively as well. And then having that slightly worse accuracy at 100 meters as well just means that, yeah, shots like to derp, and it can add to a frustration level to this 90mm gun, which is why I say it's a choice whether you want the alpha or the higher DPM and slightly more accurate general gun. You got 972 meters a second shell velocity as well on the standard AP, which is below average, meaning you have to give a good amount of lead at distance to be able to hit your shots with the standard AP. The 1,177 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APCR is nicer, or should I say standard, premium APCR is nicer on this 90mm gun, meaning you don't have to give quite as much lead, but you still have to give a decent amount because it's not exceptional. But that's the top gun for the Pawlack Tank. Like I say, it is a choice. You don't have to follow it linearly, like going, it's the last gun on the tank, I have to take the 90mm gun. It's purely a choice as to which one you will prefer, because there will be a lot of people that will prefer the higher alpha and the slightly nicer pen, and there'll be a lot of people that prefer just having that raw DPM that the 76mm can offer you. So as you can see in this this third game, I should say, this first game while fully upgraded, we're at 2,097 damage, we've got a kill, and we have managed to pull a game out of what didn't look like it was going to be a good start because of where our team set up. But we waited and we managed to get a few shots in. We're now going to shut down the T25/2, but we're being detected and spotted by something which is most likely a tank destroyer at the back of the map there. So I'm just trying to shoot the obvious spots. Oh, that shell was horrendous. Wow. That decided to go wherever it wanted to then, didn't it? Well, yeah, okay, thanks 90mm gun. That's really good of you. So we're just going to try and push over, see if we can spot this TD, whatever it is at the back. If it shoots at us, I was hoping it would see it. But sadly, we don't even spot it. I thought with 471 meters of view range we would, but whatever that tank is, it's clearly got very, very good camo, and we couldn't see it. And in fact, the fact that the G-Row and the IKV are over here means that it is a Jagdpanzer IV, which does have supremely good camo, and very good camo after firing, so we struggled. So I'm trying to slowly but surely edge around the corner, and by slowly but surely edging around the corner, I was seeing where I got spotted, because if I got spotted, then I could shoot the closest spot that I thought the tank might be and blind fire it, but we didn't end up hitting it. We're up to 2.3k damage after getting a shot into the G-Row. The IKV gets shut down by the Nashorn, which means there's just this Jagdpanzer IV and the artillery left. We ricochet off the upper plate of that Jagdpanzer IV, which is a very sad time. Thought we might go through it, but then again, he was pulling back over the ridgeline and angles. It just accentuated it enough so that it became an auto ricochet angle, and so we did. We're going to try and take shots on the move at this Jagdpanzer IV because I don't particularly want to stop, because he could kill me in one shot, and if he decides to just YOLO over, he will finish me off. Plus, artillery is over that ridgeline, and artillery might go, hello, friend, I like to splash you, and he would end up killing us, and I don't particularly want to die in that way either. So we got lucky that a shot hit the Jagdpanzer IV on the move. The aim circle was massive. It's just, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's always worth taking those shots because you never know if they'll hit or not. And, well, it did hit. So we got ourselves up to 2.6k damage. We're just hoping to get the last shot into this Lorraine 15550, which he gets put down to 7 hit points, and we get there just in time to get the kill. And we get our third kill of the game there with the 2.6k damage, the victory, 1550 base XP, which is a pretty nice game for the fully upgraded Pawlack Tank, and a fairly average game realistically with the second class. Just showing off what it's like generally with the fully upgraded version of the tank. So we're on to the fourth and final replay of this video, and this is actually the best game I've had in this vehicle. It's a tier 8 game. It's the worst matchmaking we could possibly ever have had, and we're on Sand River. And on Sand River, what I'm going to do is use my 45 km/h top speed, push to the position at G5, G6, and then try and shoot people as they cross up onto the sand dunes along the 1-2. Now, it's a position that is very, very dangerous to take. You have to go there early, and then once you've got a shot or two, run away, because they can shoot you very easily from the dunes, and they will kill you very quickly because there's not much positions to actually hide from them shooting you from the dunes as well. So the heavy tanks are currently climbing up onto the sand dune. We catch out the T-150, so we put one shot into the T-150, hoping to get a second shot in, and I should realistically run away the moment I fire this second shell. I should be running away right now because I'm overstaying my welcome. Clearly things have got up onto that ridgeline before we got here. We get a third shot into the T-150. Iron Rain hits us, puts us onto just over half health. So we get a shot into the Iron Rain. We get hit by artillery. We're now on 292 hit points. And I should do as I say. I should have left. I should have left the moment I put the shot out towards the T-150 the second time, because we knew this was going to be happening, and so we've lost most of our hit points trying to just stay there and overstay our welcome. I'll say it is one of those positions that you get the early game shots and then just run. Don't stay there, as it is death. As you saw, the Iron Rains aren't the fastest tanks in the universe. They've got good camo, but they're not the fastest tanks in the universe. But they got there before we did, and they were ready. So yeah, you got to be careful of that. So we're going to push over and try and find some shots into this Tiger 1. We put one shot downrange towards him, and it actually tracks him. I was kind of sad I didn't track and pen him there. But at that angle, 160 pen wasn't quite enough. So we're going to switch to the premium APCR with 205 pen. And that should make it easier to be able to go through that drive wheel and track and pen the Tiger 1. But he gets done in by just about everybody. But we got all the tracking assists for that, so we'll absolutely take it because, you know, we're grinding through the Pawlack. Every little bit of assistance, every little bit of damage counts for XPs. And, you know, we like the XPs so we can get through these tanks. So we're up to 1180 damage with that shot onto the SU-130PM as we took that on the move, so we'll take it, we'll take it. The SU-130PM has stayed in that bush, so I really want to be able to go and get some shots into him. This position here is the next progression of the fight on Sand River. This is a very good position to take, because you can shoot the people that camp, like that SU-130PM that we just hit blind. But you can also spot the guys that are along the 1-2 line and sit on the dunes. If they fire, you can get assistance that way, and you can stay hull down and fire at those guys too. Now in the Pawlack, that's not as good, really, because this tank doesn't have any turret armor. Well, has a little bit of turret armor, but not enough to bounce tier 8s. So you just got to play peekaboo and hope for the best. That hit? Okay, Doki's game. We'll take that little bit of good RNG, because we all know how this game giveth and it taketh with its RNG. It likes to say, absolutely not, you're going to miss the stupidest shot in the universe. But then you can also pen the stupidest shot in the universe, and that's what happened with that SU-130PM. We did take a lot of his hit points. We've got a couple of shots into him blind, because it was quite obvious he was going to be in that bush with how we were getting spotted around the corner. So we managed to get a couple more shots there into the opposition Pawlack. But as we're poking over the ridgeline, we are getting detected, which makes me think, okay, there's a big TD looking at me, and we've just got to be careful, because we are very, very close to death. There's not many tanks left on my team that will not kill me in one shot, so we have to be very, very careful when poking over the ridgeline. If we get detected, we've got to instantly pull back. So we see the Mauerbrecher behind us, but we knew there was going to be a tank going towards our base, which is what we wanted to cut off, and it was the Pawlack tank. We managed to finish him off, but we realised there's a TD in our base as well, and it's an E25, which is an absolute little weasel of a tank. It's going to sit there going, haha, I can hide, I can shoot you without getting spotted because I'm E25 and I have broken camo. So we got detected there, which means that that guy was probably looking at us, because there's no one else that really could actually shoot at us. And I decided, okay, you know what, he can't kill me in one shot, he can fire very fast though, so what I'm going to do is pull forward, see if I can spot him after he fires, and hopefully my team that are up at D7 will be able to kill him. But no! He ends up penning us, manages to fire without getting spotted, but we see where the shell traces come from. We luckily bounce his APCR shot off our turret front. We hit him blind, and we're just going to keep wiggling to make it as difficult as possible. Trying to still blind fire that same position so that he can't kill us. He's switched to firing HE. We hit him again, blind, just keeping the shells firing because he hasn't quite realised that we can see where his shell traces are and we can take away his hit points. Now the light tank is going in on that E25, we don't have to truly worry about him too much. But there's another tank, another Pawlack Tank has come about, so we're going to pop over the ridge, put a shot into his side. Probably lucky that we didn't get finished off by whatever is at the, well, one of the Iron Rains at the back. We know there's an Iron Rain back there somewhere. We're probably lucky that we didn't get finished off by them, because we could have taken a different direction to be able to get over the ridge to shoot that Pawlack, or should I say a safer way to go over that ridge line to shoot the Pawlack, where we weren't going to put ourselves at risk to the Iron Rain, but we got lucky, is what it is. We're up to nearly 3.4k damage with 2.2k assist. I was looking at possibly going after the Mauerbrecher, but you know what, no, I'm not going to do that because we know there's Iron Rains back there. They're going to be a pain to spot, and they will shoot me and kill me very easily, so I don't want to do that. We've loaded the APCR in case we get the chance to shoot the Mauerbrecher, but also that extra velocity on the round will be quite helpful for going against the Iron Rain. As we put that shell into the currently spotted Iron Rain, putting him down to a one-shot, but we're detected again, which means the other Iron Rain is looking at us. We see where someone's shooting, so I expect he is somewhere over in that direction, and we decide, okay, you know what, we're loading HE. We're going for that 320 Alpha. The round's nearly in. We've seen where their shell traces are. We pop a blind fire, but it just goes extremely low and hits the dirt, well, hits the sand, I suppose. Pop another blind fire. No, we didn't hit it. Again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so you may as well try it. The second Iron Rain gets shut down. There's the Iron Rain. We put a shot in for 325, putting him down to a one-shot with 57 HP, and the M42 Duster gets in to finish him off. And we finish with a really great game there for the Pawlack Tank in a very bad matchup with the 90mm gun. And that's it, I enjoyed grinding through the Pawlack Tank. I thought it was a pretty damn nice tank to play in general, and you can have very good games with it. It does suffer in certain situations. It is very tall and very ugly, but for the most part, it's a very capable little tier 6 tank. Do I prefer the M6? Absolutely. But you can still have a good game with the Pawlack quite easily. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!